You know, there's this quote by Carl Jung, and he said, "The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell." And I really like that quote. I think it's such a powerful quote because it speaks to us as human beings, metaphorically. In order for us to reach the highest levels of what we are capable of in living our true potential in life, creating things in life, in our state of being, our expansion of consciousness, whatever that is, internally and externally within our lives, to rise, we must face the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves. So I want you to imagine the life that your dream life, the life that you would do anything to live and experience and create. Hey, maybe you're already living that life. That's perfect. But if you're not, if there's something in your life that you feel is missing, something that you feel would just add so much more fulfillment to your life, it could be anything. I want you to imagine that for yourself. Have a vision of what that is. In detail. You know, how do you feel when you're living this life? What are you doing? What are your hobbies? How do you think? What's your day to day? Who do you spend your time with? What does that life look like? And when you have that in mind, I want you to think about what your deepest, darkest fear is. The things that you run away from within yourself. The things that you avoid. And I'm not talking about, taking out the trash or washing your dishes or doing your laundry. I'm talking about the things that maybe you're too scared to even acknowledge within yourself. The things that you've pushed so far back into the dark corners of your subconscious that it would take some real reflecting to actually become aware of what those things are. But quite often when I ask people that question, what is that deep, dark fear of yours that you are just petrified to even face, that you don't know if you could face? Usually you get something popping up in your mind. And that is the thing that we need to face within ourselves. That is casting our roots to hell so that we can experience the life that we have in our mind, that vision. In life, we have to face our biggest adversary in order to live that vision. You have to climb that mountain. But the thing is the mountain is you. You are your own biggest adversary. And that fear, that thing that you are running away from or avoiding, is the mountain to climb, is the deep, dark part of yourself that you need to face. And in facing that and overcoming it, you start to show up differently in life. You start to think differently, feel differently about yourself. Your relationship with yourself changes. That's an internal shift, which is going to allow you to rise and create or live your potential in whatever capacity that looks like. The life that you dream of living is on the other side of you facing those parts of yourself that you don't want to face. And it's not like it's a one-time thing. It's a process. It's not like you, okay, face the fear and now I'm good. No, all of a sudden I'm going to snap my fingers and life's going to, no. This is a process. Just the same way that trees continue to grow upwards as the root system is continuing to grow downwards and outwards, the same is true with us. We continually need to face ourselves and do this inner work of integrating the things that we have neglected within ourselves or pushed away, things that we're ashamed of, scared of, not accepting within ourselves, whatever it looks like. But quite often, it's facing those things that will actually allow you to live the life that's possible for you. I'll give you an example, a couple of examples in my own life. You know, for a long time, I was very scared of talking on camera. I was very scared of putting myself out there. You know, well, what are people gonna think about me, or whatever. I was judging myself. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I second guessed myself. There's all kinds of stuff going on, all kinds of fears, and it was probably, you know, years that went by of me thinking about it, never doing it. And finally, I did it. I faced that fear. And I continued to face that fear, because it's not like I faced it once and it just completely went away. I continued to show up and face that fear, and it got smaller and smaller and smaller. But in facing that fear, my life has grown upwards in a way that I never thought it would. I never expected that it would. I didn't have this attachment to some outcome that, you know, it was just like an insight or an inspiration that was seated within my own heart. Like, maybe I feel called to do this, but I'm scared. I'm scared shitless to do this. And that's kind of the funny thing. It's like, usually you receive something. You have this seed of desire. You want something in your life. You want to live a certain way. You want to experience something. You want to be a certain version of yourself. And then you receive an insight. You receive a calling within yourself to go and do something. But the thing is, usually that calling is going to scare you. It's going to challenge the deep parts of yourself. And that is the moment where you have the opportunity to grow upwards and downwards simultaneously by facing that fear. You're facing the fear within yourself, and in doing that, your life externally can grow in ways that you don't even know. I know that's been true of my life with this whole content thing. And the more that I was able to face certain parts of myself and fears within this realm, the more it grew and has grown. So that's one example, you know. Another example was, you know, when I was a kid, I was always self-conscious, scared of putting myself out there, similar to content stuff, but more specifically in sports. Now, I felt like I had some sort of athletic potential, but I always held myself back because I was scared that I would never, you know, I was going to be made fun of, or, you know, I was scared of being in that type of situation. So I often never really tried out for higher level teams. I kind of just played the, you know, recreational leagues or the house league teams or whatever. Had a lot of fun, but I never really reached my potential with sports when I was growing up because I was too nervous and too scared. And obviously it's not like as a, you know, 12-year-old or 15-year-old or whatever, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to face these deep parts of myself here. And, you know, you're thinking that way. I was just scared, and I didn't even know what it was. I just didn't do it. And I stayed within my comfort zone, and I never grew. That tree never grew. And it wasn't until I was 27 years old, and I was a track and field athlete, and I got out there. I was doing some track workouts just on my own for fun. And a couple of people approached me on the track. They were out there working out as well with their coach. And they're like, hey, what sport are you training for? And I said, nothing. I'm a personal trainer. I'm just doing this for fun. And they're like, well, you know, you look pretty fast. You should come try out for the bobsled team. And I had that same something lit up inside of me. I was like, yeah, I have to do that. And it scared me too. I mean, I'm putting myself out there in a group of people to go and try out for a team like this, but it's not like a, you know, it's not a AAA hockey team at this point or a AA hockey team. It's now a national team camp that, you know, I would be going to. Highly nerve-wracking. Obviously, I felt like at that point, 27, I had grown in my life a bit and stuff and within myself. So, you know, I started training for it. Had a few months, went out, tried out. And the long story short is I ended up competing on the national team, the Canadian bobsled team. And that tree in that area of my life grew because I faced something that scared me for so long. I had never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I was going to be, after I was done high school sports, I was like, I'm done with sports, you know? I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be traveling to Switzerland or different parts of the world to slide and represent Canada, you know? But there I was, be looking around and be like, wow, how the hell did I get here? So if you want something in your life, think of that quote. The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell, must face themselves, and not only face themselves, but endure the hardship that can come with that, the discomfort, all of the things that hell would represent in embarking on that journey, embarking on that process. I wouldn't say, I don't know, in my experience, I wouldn't say it's necessarily an easy path to create that vision that you thought of at the beginning of this video. It's fulfilling. And I think that's the difference between true fulfillment and just simple pleasures. It's like an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg in terms of pleasure is like, you know, cheap dopamine, like food and Netflix and video games and drugs and alcohol and porn and scrolling. That's the tip of the iceberg. That's the low-hanging fruit, easily accessible. The 90% of the iceberg underneath the water is the true, deep, enriching, fulfilling pursuits. And it's the pursuit of that actually gives the true fulfillment for within yourself. It's enduring some of the adversity, the hardship. It's the resiliency that you build within yourself. It's the wisdom that you build in going within yourself, in facing yourself, your deep fears. And it's why I think that one of the quickest ways to grow in life, one of the quickest and most direct ways for that tree to grow in your life, which is you, is to write down your fears and start conquering them like it's a bucket list. The fear bucket list is one of the, again, not easy, but one of the most direct ways to face yourself and to grow, because you are casting those roots to hell. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. It's scary, obviously. And you're going to face a lot of negative mental chatter within your own mind. But that negative mental chatter is the story of the past of who you've been up until this point. And if we continue to live from that story, we're going to continue to stay the same. That tree is never going to grow. The roots are staying where they are, and that tree is not going to grow. So I think it's just so important, if you want that tree in your life, or which is you, to rise into what is possible for you, and maybe even who you're meant to be in this lifetime. Don't let the fear of facing yourself hold you back, because You'll get through your life, you'll face those fears, and you'll realize how small they actually were. Whether you face them or not, you'll get to the end of your life. If you're privileged enough to make it to, 80, 90, however old, you're an old person, you're on your deathbed, you're going to look back on your life and realize how small those fears actually were in the grand scheme of things. When you're looking back on all the years that you had here, right now in this moment, as however old you are, you're not on your deathbed yet, so you've got time. That is the greatest treasure in life, is time. Use it. Use it to the best of your abilities that you can. We often go after money and how can I get more money? How can I get more this, that? Money buys you time. Sure, it can buy you some nice things, but hey, you know what? And this is my own life. I've been able to buy some things for myself in my life. I'm not driving a Lamborghini. I'm not living in a massive mansion or anything like that, but I've been able to buy some things that I've thought would give me some great, sense of fulfillment at one point in time. They're nice to have, but it's that tip of the iceberg. That's what I've realized. Money buys us time. Time is life. It's an hourglass, and it's constantly draining. This moment the hourglass is draining as I speak, as you listen to this video. That's not to bring more fear on or more of this, fight or flight response. I need to rush around and do things. No, it's not about rushing around and trying to get as many things done necessarily. It's about the quality of the consciousness that you bring to this moment. And in order for that consciousness to expand, I've realized in my own life, it's about expanding that root system within ourselves. Going through and discovering who we actually are deeply, mentally, spiritually, all of those ways. That is what will help a person, in my view and in my life, my experience, will help a person navigate life with a greater sense of consciousness. And it's our quality of our life, to me, begins with the quality of our consciousness. So, the tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell. Love that quote. I hope this video helps you help your tree grow to the greatest heights in your life. And not necessarily about the material things in life. Again, those are the tip of the iceberg, but in who you become, in how you show up to life, in the quality of your consciousness. Because that's the real treasure. It's being able to go through life more consciously, more aware, more present, more joyful, and being able to serve and impact and, live a fulfilling life, maybe in terms of your career or in reaching your potential in other ways. But as I said, I hope this video helps you and help your tree grow in life and see how you can face yourself along the way. So, see you in the next video.